that I get everything here. So let's start back,
Okay.
and you can tell me why and when you started with the Footsmith Little Theater.
Okay, as I just said, I had twins quite a long while afterwards, and I now realize that I must have had, oh shoot, my memory goes sometimes. I got, what do you call it when you get postpartum?
Yeah.
Postpartum, but they weren't really saying anything about postpartum in those days. They were born in 73. And I went to the doctor's because I'd just been crying a lot and all this. And he asked me, well, what do you do for yourself? Well, you know, that was a hard question to answer because everything I said had to do with my children. You know, I'm involved in Cub Scouts, I'm involved in Girl Scouts, going to church with the children, all this. He said, no, I mean, what do you do for yourself? And I thought about it and truly could not think of one. I think I'd kind of lost Angela with all these children. And he said, well, what was your interest before you became a mother? And I said, well, I've always been involved with the theater ever since I was a little girl in England. I was born in England. And I said, I just love it. I've had training in it and everything. And he said, did you know they have a little theater here? I said, no, I didn't. He said, well, you ought to get involved. And about the next Sunday in the newspaper was saying that they were having tryouts for man season, the one about Thomas More and Henry VIII. Was it called? I don't believe I'm doing this. A Man for All Seasons, yes. And I was cast, which simply amazed me because I didn't know a soul when I entered. And it was at the old theater. And I just made friends during that I still have today. Paula Sharon is one of the ones that we were in that play together. And I was hooked. They couldn't get rid of me. I've directed, I've been in many, many plays. I produced, I cleaned toilets because back in the old theater, we could not afford all the things we can now. And done hospitality, everything, props, wardrobe, you know, everything except lights. I know nothing about lights and I'm not too good at building sets. I can paint, but I sure can't put it together, you know. And it's become like family almost. And I mean, just like Mickey used to be there with your mother, and then later on, there she was at tryouts, and she's been involved well for a long while. She took a little sabbatical for a while, but then she came back. And it's very much part of my life, except that, let me see, COVID started in what year?
2021.
21. Okay, the first show of 2020, was it 2021?
It might have been 2020. Now that I think about it.
I don't. 23, we haven't got there yet.
Yeah. I mean, 2020 was, I think, right.
Yes, I think, yes. And the very last show I was in was the first show of 2021. And we had to close down after that. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I knew my memory was not as good and it was more difficult for me to learn. And I said to myself, this sounds kind of big-headed, but I've done some good stuff out there and I don't want to go out with everyone. Let's have her, you know. And so I quit. Now, actually, I tried to quit a few years before that. But your sister was one of the things that got me back. She asked me if I'd take this little bitty role. And I said, sure. I think I only had about 2 or 3 lines. I could memorize those. But somehow or other, people know me down there because I do talk differently. I was very, people were welcoming and were glad to see me back. And so I did that a couple of times. But this last one that Mickey was in, I knew that I could not do it anymore and give it, you know what, I just knew it wasn't my best work. So I basically quit. I go to all the shows. I don't like driving at night, so that's getting a little more difficult. But it's a very special organization. I know I have I'm prejudiced, but it's one of the only theatres I know that is self-supporting. Not only that, we're very much in the black. I mean, we are doing very well. And we don't pay anyone, as I'm sure you know. And we have grown, and I'll have to say, shout out to Nancy Blockberger. She came along and she knew the right people and had the right attitude to ask. I'd kind of go up to people and say, we don't want to, we'd like to donate some money with you. She doesn't do that. She knows the way, and through her efforts is quite a lot of reason why we're now in that place. I was on the committee for when we went together with the Arts Centre, and that was a little difficult. We didn't always see eye to eye. We had some money, they had some land, and eventually we looked at lots of places, but that seemed to be the best place for us. We were still a little concerned. It's not in the best place of town, in the part of town, but people don't seem to mind. They come down there and they fill the parking lot up. And it's just, they're such a close-knit family, really. And Paula, Sharon, like she and I go back, and then those like Mickey, they come in and they're not just there for a time or two. If you do get one that doesn't quite fit, they don't stay there long.
Yeah, right.
But and now I see I'll be 86 next month, and I see when I came in, there was Jim Moody and myself and Paula were all in that first play I was in, and we had new ideas. And some of the ones I could name and I won't, but that weren't too keen on our ideas because they'd kind of gone into it. And now I see the same thing happening with the young folks. And I know that no organization can grow without youth and new ideas. So it was definitely time for me to step back.